Making content that is original and hasn't been said before is getting harder and harder. Someone at some point has already said it. Sometimes it feels almost impossible to come up with a truly original idea that hasn't been spoken about, especially now with the introduction of AI and mass ingestion of data and training for AI from almost every source. But there is usually one thing missing from your content that most people genuinely overlook, and that is that you're hiding from negative feedback. Afraid. Now hold on, listen to the rest. The single word that ties it all together is indifference. You might be thinking, but wait, I hate negative feedback. Why would indifference be worse? Well, this is why. Indifference is a lurker. It doesn't really say that it's there like a negative comment or a troll would. It's super sneaky, and before you know it, your content is done and it's posted, and it's just like a snooze fest being ignored. Now, I want to take you back to a scene from The Boondock Saints. It's the scene in the church in the opening of the movie. Monsignor is up at the front of the church talking about how a poor girl was killed and people stood by and watched her murderer walk free. He said,
"We must all fear evil men. But there is another kind of evil which we must fear most, and that is the indifference of good men."
Monsignor is on about the death of the young girl in the community, but the concept is the same. Let that sink in for a second. When creators like you and me play it safe, water down our message, and we try not to offend anybody, we let mediocrity just kind of run the show. We're letting indifference take over, and that's a death sentence for your message and for your content. The truth is that negative feedback is not your enemy. Negative feedback can be one of the best things that can happen to your content. Now, I know it stings when somebody leaves a comment saying they don't agree with you, or even worse, that they rip into your work. Look at it like this. If someone takes the time to leave a negative comment, that means your content moved them. They felt something, and that's powerful. Let me put it another way. When people react negatively, it's because they care. They have strong beliefs that you've challenged, and they're engaging with what you say. And that is exactly what you want. Now imagine you put something out there and no one says anything, no likes, no shares, no comments, nothing. Indifference means that no one cared enough to engage. You might as well not have created the content at all. Think about it. When was the last time you reacted to something you didn't care about? Probably never. Because if you don't care, you're not going to engage with it. So when you do get that negative feedback, don't take it personally. Instead, take it as a sign that your content is creating ripples. And this is the thing that is often overlooked. Love and hate aren't as different as we think they are. Both come from passion. The stronger someone's reaction is to your content, whether positive or negative, the stronger the passion is for that particular topic. And passion is the lifeblood of all engagement. Look at every viral piece of content. Does everyone love it? No, of course not. Some people love it. Other people are tearing it apart. Either way, there's only one thing that matters, and that is that they're talking about it. And that's the sweet spot. You want people to care enough to either love it or hate it. That's the black hole of content in general, in all of the content world. Think about it like this. Strong reactions fuel conversation. And that conversation fuels engagement. Even when someone disagrees with you, they're still sharing your work, commenting, bringing more attention to it, and the algorithm loves engagement. No matter the sentiment, whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, the fact that people are reacting means that your content's being seen and discussed, and that's the goal, right? Is to resonate. So why do we as creators start softening our content? We start to hold back, trying to please everybody. And that's because we're afraid of negative feedback. I've been the biggest offender of that over time. We think that by being neutral, by being safe, we can appeal to everybody. But the reality is that when you try to appeal with everyone, you end up appealing to no one. Now, I usually get to work with a few different types of people: content creators, marketers that operate digital marketing agencies, and small business owners. And having close proximity to them lets me have a chance to see this up close and personal. A creator puts out something bold, maybe it's a strong opinion, maybe it challenges the status quo, and boom, here come the negative comments. What do they do next? They start sanding down those sharp edges. They soften their voice to avoid stepping on feelings, and guess what happens next? The content becomes forgettable. And think about that in the world of content as a whole. When you stop taking risks, and when you start trying to make everyone happy, you are feeding into indifference. You're letting mediocrity win. If you're not making people think, feel, or react, your content isn't doing its job. You don't want middle of the road opinions. You don't want to be neutral. You want to be polarizing. You want to take a stand because, trust me, that's where the magic happens. And yes, sometimes that means not being politically correct. Now, I'm not saying that negative feedback is always fun. Sometimes it really does feel personal, especially in the early stages of content creation, can kind of make you want to curl up in a ball and never post again. In another vertical that I operate in, working in a very specific niche of small business owners, some of my most loyal followers started out as some of my harshest critics. That niche is small, and I grew super fast in it as a leader. I had multiple people attack me online for saying the things that went against the grain, and I would get unhappy messages all the time. It was only until they actually spoke to me, heard me on a call, or met me in person that they understood the type of person that I was, and they got another chance to hear my message another way. Because negative reactions can often be turned around. People are quick to jump to conclusions, but when you engage with them thoughtfully, you can turn those critics into fans. So don't think you can't turn them around. Embrace that dialogue with them. I know it can be tempting just to make safe content, to try and avoid those harsh comments or unsubscribes. When you do that, you're trading your unique, true voice for being soft. You're letting the indifference in and take control. And when indifference takes over your content becomes like that static from the old days when TVs didn't have a great signal. What's worse than someone hating your content? And that's no one reacting at all. Because indifference doesn't spark conversation. Indifference doesn't get people sharing. It is a black hole where content goes to die. So now you say to me, okay, Gabe, now what? Don't be afraid of negative feedback. Fear the indifference. If you're not pushing boundaries, if you're not making people think or feel, then you're just leaving too much room on the table. And safe doesn't grow audiences. Be bold and be unapologetically you. Because as creators and marketers, we're here to make an impact. We're here to share ideas, spark conversation, and yes, even ruffle a few feathers. The world doesn't need more cookie cutter, watered down AI garbage. It needs people who are willing to take risks, who aren't afraid of rubbing up on the wrong people, who understand that the worst thing isn't being hated and it's just being ignored. So next time you're about to hit publish, remember this. It's not the negative feedback you need to worry about. It's the lack of feedback. If people aren't reacting at all, that's when you've got a problem. Because if they're loving it or hating it, then you're doing something right. Don't let your voice be silenced by the fear of negativity. Use your true voice. Be the creator who takes the risks, who challenges the norm, and refuses to let indifference win. Now go out there and do it. So if you enjoyed this video, sign up for the Helpful Marketer newsletter at the link down in the description. If you want help creating a content plan, creating your true voice, and coming up with a plan to help build your offer, your message, click the True Voice link in the description. Like, subscribe. More importantly, the biggest help is sharing this with other people that might find it helpful. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you in the next one.